This is Rummy's Corner. Following his recent stoppage win against Otto Wallin, Anthony Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn indicated that AJ will likely fight again in March, and he listed 3 possible opponents: Filip Hrgović, Francis Ngannou, and Big Bang Zhang. Whichever opponent is ultimately chosen, this is a very good sign for Joshua. It means he's going to remain active, as he promised and has done since suffering back-to-back defeats at the hands of Alexander Usyk. Joshua fought 3 times in 2023, first winning a 12-round unanimous decision against Jermaine Franklin in April. Then he was supposed to have a rematch with Dillian Whyte in August, but instead he went on to stop late replacement opponent Robert Helenius in round 7. And of course, most recently, AJ looked as great as he has looked in years when he systematically broke down Wallin, both mentally and physically, in dominant fashion. The expectation was the day of reckoning would finally lead us to a long-awaited mega-bout showdown between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. But those best-laid plans were ultimately derailed when Wilder lost a one-sided decision against Joseph Parker. With the Wilder fight now out for AJ's March return, the 3 names mentioned by Hearn all represent interesting potential foes for the former 2-time heavyweight champion. So which one will AJ choose, and which potential opponent would make for the most interesting matchup? My 2 cents for what that's worth, I think Hrgović makes the most sense. And if I were making a prediction, that's what I think is most likely to happen. Hrgović is the IBF #1 mandatory contender, and of course he was also featured on Day of Reckoning, a complete and total mismatch where he stopped Mark Demore in round 1. With Fury and Usyk tentatively scheduled to square off for undisputed heavyweight supremacy in February, potentially the first of 2 or more fights with the rematch clauses, the expectation is that the winner will immediately be stripped by the IBF, and that Hrgović will fight someone for the vacant IBF belt. That someone could very well be AJ, and in that sense, getting a title shot in a winnable fight against Hrgović might provide AJ with the most momentum and leverage going forward. Then you have the aging Chinese powerhouse, Zhang Big Bang Zhilei. For me personally, this is the one I would be most interested in seeing, but at the same time I think this one is least likely to happen. Trying to view matters from AJ's perspective, this feels like the highest risk with the lowest relative reward. Zhang himself is the WBO #1 mandatory contender, and while he's further back in the rotation than Hrgović, he will theoretically eventually get a shot at the WBO once the Fury and Usyk rivalry is concluded. So there is risk for both AJ and Zhang in this one. On the other hand, Zhang is 40 years old, so he ain't no spring chicken, and he may jump at the opportunity for an AJ payday, not unlike Otto just did. I just do not personally see this option as being in AJ's best interests, even if an impressive victory against Zhang would do wonders for his reputation. I'm not saying this is not a winnable fight for AJ, nothing of the sort, but I think this option is least likely to come together at this time. Finally, we have Francis Ngannou. This is the one I'm least interested in, but that's not to say I don't think it has an inherently interesting angle. I get the appeal here, and I definitely do want to see more of Ngannou against top heavyweights following his impressive performance against Fury. Indeed, Ngannou deserves another big opportunity in my opinion, and from his perspective, AJ very well represents the best available option for him, bar none. With Fury Usyk in the balance, I get the appeal here from AJ's perspective. It gives him a chance to get yet another one up on Fury, and should Fury win the rivalry with Usyk, no doubt Fury versus Joshua would represent the biggest fight that could be made among heavyweights, if not in all of boxing. So if you're AJ and you're eyeing a Fury fight should he win the Usyk rivalry, a win over Ngannou would give him bragging rights of sorts, and a win over Hrgović would provide him with the IBF belt, which possibly means we could have another undisputed world heavyweight champion following when the IBF strips the winner of Fury Usyk. If Usyk winds up winning the rivalry, however, I think a win over Hrgović proves more valuable for him in providing the opportunity to get a third fight with Usyk. So again, for me, I believe Hrgović is the most likely and logical option here. But what the hell do I know? I ain't exactly Quasimodo over here. Whatever happens, AJ is in a good position. And all three of those guys, Hrgović, Ngannou, and Big Bang Zhang, they all represent viable options for AJ. And I don't know that any of these matchups is a given, although you'd have to make AJ a monster favorite against Ngannou, notwithstanding his solid effort against Fury. Whatever happens, I was very impressed by what AJ did in 2023, and I am interested in seeing how he figures into the bigger picture in 2024. So who do you think AJ should and will face next? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.
You know, Quasimodo predicted all this.